Broadcast Tuesday mornings with Becky Taylor. Good morning, Becky.
Good morning.
How nice to have you here.
Appreciate it.
I think probably, I'm remembering the first time we visited was a while ago, wasn't
Yes.
it? There at the
Yes.
radio station, but here we are. Ed Kubi's, great to have you here. The history of the Honor the Earth Homecoming celebration and powwow, it goes back to the early 70s, doesn't it?
Yes. I would just like to use my language.
Please.
Buju Anishinaabe de Nisa Majakwa Indigenikas Makwa Nindodem Odawa Sai Gananing Nundunjaba Nagani Beneshi Kwe Nagani Benesh Medewe Gishigukwe Mamengwa Nagani Benes and Zagi Win. In the memories of my family that have been at the first protest regarding the Honor the Earth powwow, I was there from the beginning. So I'd like to recognize all our loved ones that were there. My mom doing the stew, the fry bread, the tea, washing her frying pan out by the winter dam, the ceremonies that they had to pray. Those were, those were the early 70s. Then we went to the Little Round Lake Beach, and there was singing and dancing all night, feasting of the traditional foods, the prayers that were spoken for, the people that came in from all over the Midwest of the Great Lakes area, all the Ojibways that came in to help us celebrate and more like a homecoming. One year we even went out to the Historyland area and they sponsored a concert, a fundraising event out there. And then the first powwow was officially where the hill was by the Lacouture School, where that's located now, the Charlie's Bellel softball diamond there. Then it continued to where it is now located behind the Lacouture Ojibwe School, in between the Boys and Girls Club. The grounds are there now. So yes, a lot of memories. I haven't missed 1 year of Honor the Earth, and that's because I had good teachers, good parents, good grandparents to help me celebrate the culture of who we are, our identity, our traditional use of foods, the songs, the dances that honor the winged ones, the fish, all the species that live in the water, fly in the sky, walk on this Mother Earth. Everything that was created, those songs and dances are in honor of all of those. So there's a lot of teachings that goes with powwows, and it's become a big celebration now through all the specials that are going to be held this weekend in honor of the competition of traditional minns, the red dress old style jingle special for the missing women of Canada, the Anishinaabe Quay. We have our host drum singers that are right from here, Badgers, Pipestone, Hay Creek. And we're honoring this powwow dedicated to my relatives, the Vernon Martin family, All his brothers and sisters will be here. Those are all my late mother's nephews and nieces. So I'm honored to have them be recognized while they're still here. So I look forward to that, and I really want to thank WOJB for out there in Radio Land to invite everybody with your families to Le Coudray. It's starting Thursday, I believe, with the pageant. The pageant is real special to me because I was pregnant with my daughter, Sheena, and my mother and I and her, we ran the first Miss Le Coudray for about the first 20 years, and then it carried over to Honor the Earth title, which we ran for about a 30-year total, helping out. And we're now kind of retired from that pageant, but in a way to where we're still helping the families with their regalia, their songs and dances, their introductions, their recruitment, the teachings of the traditional foods, how to make their regalia. We're still out there in the community helping them. So that's what it's all about. I would like to invite you all out to the Landing Resort where we have a short version Pow Wow Expo where they sell also arts and crafts. And we do that all summer, every Wednesday from 7 to 9 till August 15th. And I always want to be part of culture and helping the youth with our traditions of our culture, of being who we are and being proud of where we come from. And this is what it's all about. So Honor the Earth, it will bring happiness, and anybody that's grieving, this is a place to start healing again. This is a place to get the traditional foods from the feast. This is the place to come and dance with everybody. There'll be tribes representing all the way through Ontario, Montana, Michigan, all over Great Lakes, different tribes coming in. So you're going to be able to see, I would say the arena gets filled up each grand entry time with 700 to 900 dancers. And with all the drum arbor, we have that filled with from anywhere from 20 to 30 drums that come in. Then you walk around the arena, there's going to be arts and crafts stands, and there'll probably be about 30 of those and another 15 food vendors. So it's going to be quite the weekend, sharing it with, like you said, the lumberjack show. So if you have to go to town, go now while it's not too heavy with traffic. So I would say share this community, clean up after yourselves. Please don't litter the highways and the roads. Take care of our children, watch them closely. Buckle up out there while you're traveling up here safely. We want to visit with everybody. We're at Kubi's. They had the Pow Wow buttons here last year, but maybe they'll have to get a new poster full of them. I bought mine from the Le Coudray Quick Stop, located right on Highway K and B there. So go out now and get your button for $10 for the weekend. That's going to cover 2 meals, actually 3 meals at the Le Coudray School. That's going to cover the showers. It's free camping, free parking. So there's good security. There's a good committee. There's Medicaid down there with the tent available. There's help with maybe having to set up your tent, they won't allow canopies down there, so it's going to get crowded. Bring your chairs. It's going to be packed all the way, probably 20 rows back, all the way around the arena. There's 2 places for the elderlies to sit, representing the Anishinaabe Kwe women that were honored. This year it's Doris Nikanabe. My mother was Anishinaabe Kwe, so they'll have their honoring on Saturday at noon. The specials, listen for them. They'll be held on the evening sessions. So if you have maybe any more questions, I would call the tribal office at area code 715-634-8934. And actually, I'm on Facebook if you want to know about any more powwows or anything close. So I would invite all of yous out there in listening land to come out and grab a meal, grab an Indian taco, grab a walleye basket, grab a lemonade, whatever you want to, whatever you're hungry and thirsty for. Come on out and check out the vendors, arts and craft vendors, and just enjoy your time with us and really listen to our beautiful music from our singers and watch all the regalia coming in. We do the beadwork 1 bead at a time, so it takes us pretty much all winter long to create our regalia, our dance outfits. And each outfit is one of a kind. You will not see it anywhere in Radio Land. Or see it as, I mean, actually see it.
Becky, tell me about the regalia. Some there's traditional, and there are those who are ribbon dancing. The women dancing jingle dresses. Of course, the jingles are what you probably hear the most on the radio when they are going about. Now, that's exclusively a women's regalia, isn't it?
It's a spiritual healing dress of the Anishinaabe Kwe Nation around the Great Lakes area, all the way up until Canada. It's a dream dress. It was sung for healing for a granddaughter, where they put those certain colors, the medicine colors, together. And you'll see those colors out there in the arena. And those colors represent to us the sky, the water, the earth, the sun that gives us this day. And those colors, the medicine colors, the women wear. And you'll see and hear the sounds of the cones, which is the closest sound to water. As the water is a gift to each of us women before we had our children. It's a gift from getting over pain, having joy, sweating in it, and healing in it. And we ask, when we dance in our dresses, the healing dress, we dance for all the ones that are not able to dance. If they're sitting out there in a wheelchair, using a cane, using a walker, we're dancing for all of them, for their healing, their spiritual healing. Maybe their heart is hurt, or their mind is hurt, or physically that way, mentally, spiritually that way. We dance and use our dresses and the music in that song that's sung for us to ask for prayer. The ones that are in the nursing homes, the ones that are in hospitals, maybe they're even overseas yet in service. We dance for all the ones that might even have families and behind bars, as in the local jails, incarcerated. They still have their loved ones home, and we want everyone to get better from what they're ailing from. So we put that energy when we dance into that movement of prayer, and the song is sung, and we even ask the audience around us for that positive energy to fill that arena with good thoughts and good feelings, because we're all there and we all have loved ones around us, and we're all experience everything from birth to death to just life in general, of struggling to get bills paid, to have enough to even come home and visit our relatives, or even leave from our homelands here safely, traveling. Any which way you can think of that you need a prayer, that's what the jingle dress is all about. It belongs to the Anishinaabe Nation of women, so you'll see a lot of them honoring our dresses too. And this weekend they're going to be, like I said, praying for all the families that are missing their loved ones from Canada that have gone missing. And
the tragically many missing women in Canada.
yes,
How do dancers choose their type of dance? Women with shawls, women with jingle dresses, or men with traditional, what we see as traditional, with elaborate beadwork and headdresses often called a roach. They are depicted, I think, in one of the symbols of the Lakudere people. Are those chosen by individuals? Do they feel, how does one come to decide what type of regalia to wear?
well, most of the families have the original design passed down that they bead and they redo and make their regalia for their sons and daughters, and basically memories of the footsteps of their grandparents. It's passed down. Maybe they were given a regalia so that they could begin to dance. A lot of my mother's made over probably 1,000 regalia for little young children, from grass dance outfits to the woodland outfits, to the little girl fancy shawls, to the jingle, to the buckskin traditional cloth. So all those styles are basically from each family decides, and they usually have a traditional feast to bless the dress, to speak over it, the do's and don'ts for the regalia of taking care of it, when not to wear it. There's a lot of protocol to have that respect for your regalia, because it's representing who we are. When we have our regalia on, we have to take care of it as it takes care of us. The men, being that they have even more things, that they wear, such as you're talking about with the men's, the head roach itself is out of porcupine and porcupine hair and the whitetail hair to make that head roach.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll design it to let it mock like a bear when it protects its family. You'll see the hair stick up on the back. Now there's the roach. So they designed it for that. There's different meaning for every little piece that they're wearing on their regalia. The eagle feathers that they have earned and received and went to ceremonies for and were gifted. Those feathers that you might see on the roach, one represents the Gitchimanadu, our creator that we believe in. Behind the back feather represents themselves. as that man, that male figure, to honor and protect the treaty rights so that that man can begin to take care of his family with the foods, because the traditional foods is a healthy way to our diet, actually. You know, there's no sugar, salt, flour. So what I'm saying is the traditional foods of our homelands is how we can live healthier. So they're the protectors of the family, and they represent that traditional style where you'll see them like they're tracking. You watch the men's traditionals.
As they're dancing, yes.
They're special. Yes, as they're dancing, they get low to the ground. They're looking left and right. You know, their bodies moving left and right. The grass dancers. You know, it's a society from the Plains Indians, and that's another story, similar to the jingle, for the healing purposes. And you'll see the grass dancers either with ribbon or yarn, but that represents the high grass that grows high in the plains, that when the wind blows left and right, forward, back, they're making that movement of the high grass. And that was done for a purpose to heal a young boy also.
Oh.
So that every dance has a story for it, just like the women's traditional, whether they're wearing 2 bucks skin hides on them, you know, to make that dress. Maybe 4 does, maybe, for the fringe and for the length, to make that beautiful buckskin dress. She's representing the beauty of motherhood. Her feet will be really close to the ground, feeling the Mother Earth just as close as when we were inside our mother's womb. This is what she represents, that beauty and that gracefulness, the closeness to Mother Earth her steps will be. For the women's cloth, the women's buckskin. And then you'll see the other tribes coming in. You can always tell the other tribes because they have their designs are different. Their our designs are all floral work. The patterns of the leaves, the berries, the flowers, our clan tracks might be on there, our symbols representing our clans. And then you'll see in here, like I said, our dress's jingle represents the sound of rain. We want rain because it's a healing for all of us to have life and to carry on with life, maybe through the tears or even healing, but to continue from that grief, whatever it may be, that we could also live on. So those cones represent the teardrops. The cones represents the icicles. You know, it just represents the water. And if you listen to it on WOJB 88.9 FM, you will hear those cones dancing by, and it's going to offer a blessing because those cones represent a prayer to each of those cones that we are wearing, and they're sounded for the healing. It's the closest sound we can make to rain.
It's a beautiful sound. Speaking with Becky Taylor, this weekend is the Honor of the Earth Homecoming celebration and powwow here at Le Coudray. And Becky has been, as she said, involved since the very first. And you, at the outset, you mentioned the demonstration. And of course, it was at the time when the tribe of Le Coudray was being asked to sign another lease agreement to allow the electric utility power company to maintain the dam that dammed the Chippewa River and created the Chippewa flowage, but in doing so flooded the communities of Lac-Courte and the wild rice beds, including Post at the time. Now, of course, it is New Post. And I have, and I'm sure many people, yourself as well, obviously, have been out to, for example, Church Island and seen it's almost hard to speak of, the empty graves.
Yes.
Empty graves where the bodies were moved from, most of them, but not all, were moved from after the flooding of the flowage. But it was at that time, so many years ago, that that people here at Lac-Courte said, no, we're not going to renew this lease without our distinct involvement in this process. And now, of course, the Chippewa flowage and the dam are operated by the tribe itself, and there's a co-management agreement, and the tribe asserted its right, its sovereignty there at that time. And from then, the Honor of the Earth powwow,
Yes.
and homecoming celebration. I'm glad you mentioned the floral designs. I wanted to ask you about that because I've seen, for example, Dennis White would oftentimes come to the radio station when his wife Cleo would be on the air, and he would be there beading.
Yes.
And floral designs. What is Lac-Courte has that tradition of the floral design, as you said?
Yes,
From where does that come?
The Anishinaabe Nation, or Ojibwe people, honor the surroundings of our homelands. So be it that we honor all the things that survive for our food surfaces, or throughout the berries. Those are like the medicines that heal our people. There's traditional medicines. There's the trackings of where we'll find our food. There's the clans that we all belong to, so that would be another marking. The floral design, you'll see it different from, say, go further west, and you have the Lakota Nation where they're geometric. So you can identify us as being from the Great Lakes area, of being as far as away from Michigan all the way to Montana and up into Ontario. We have Ojibways, and all of our regalia is either appliqued floral or all beadwork floral. You'll see it a lot of times on black velveteen. Mm-hmm. And you'll see the floral design, such as Dennis. It was the masterpiece on his beadwork. It's beautiful. And a lot of the men, too, now are beading, creating, because it takes patience, it takes time, it just takes, when you don't have a design on paper, you're just designing it as you're going. That's, to me, it's a masterpiece. So you'll see a few of those items, maybe from earrings to necklaces to medallions to rings to ribbon shirts to pucker toe moccasins that we wear. Those things will be on sale down this at the Powell grounds this weekend, because you won't find it anywhere in the world. It'll be one of a kind.
There
pieces.
is a great array of crafts.
Yes.
That are available around the powwow ring, as well as you mentioned food, and some of the very finest.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, walleye sandwiches and tacos, yes. And my goodness.
Yes. They have the fry bread contest and wild rice contest, I believe. And
tell us about the Becky. The way the events are. You mentioned Thursday evening, night after tomorrow is the pageant. The first grand entry is always Friday evening at 7, and then there's a grand entry at 1 and 7 Saturday, and then at 1 o'clock Sunday, and the last The last drum you will hear, the last song, is a traveling song. But in between, there will be, as you said, demonstrations. I mean, there are demonstration dances, if you will.
Yeah.
And I've had the pleasure of being in the drum arbor, in the center, and watching the grand entry come in.
Okay. A good night, good session would be Saturday evening. You know, you can smell the campfires going in the background there where the camps are. You can hear the sounds of children laughing and just being able to be children and happy. You can hear the sound of the bells. You can hear the sound of the cones. You can hear each drum beat. You just get a feeling, you know, as all the ones that have danced there in that arena, you know, it just, to me, it feels like they're home helping us and guiding us, that we stay, you know, corrected and following how we should be out there with the grand entry. Each grand entry, they'll have a person standing there holding a birch bark basket, and it's filled with the sacred tobacco, which is our medicine for prayer, and we use it in that way, in a sacred way. They'll give that out. We'll take it with our left hand because our left hand is the closest to our hearts. As we're entering that arena with good thoughts and good feelings, when we take that tobacco, that asema, we'll come into that arena. There's a protocol for that, where first our veterans will carry in the Eagle staff, the American flag, POW flag, Wisconsin flag, and the flags that our LCO veterans colored guard. All of them will come in, and then after them will be the royalty of Honor the Earth. And then we have the Ogichidakwe from the Lakudere Ojibwe school, and the Ogichida. Those were chosen from the teachers. And then we'll have the other representatives that represent all the other tribes that are coming into our powwow, all the ambassadors. Then we'll have the men's traditional. The men traditional wear one bustle behind them, so you can tell the difference from them. They'll have the one bustle of eagle feathers, maybe hawk feathers, but you'll see that coming in. They're the ones with the louder bells, and they'll have the head roach. Then after them will be the grass dancers that have the applique and the floral designs on their regalia, the yarn and the fringes off the regalia. And then the next in line would be the men's fancy dancers. Those guys are the more of the contemporary, fancier style, with two bustles.
Who are dancing with more than a flourish.
Oh, yes. They have the energy. They have the energy. They must have got a coffee at Kubi's. So before they went. Then the women's traditional, they'll gracefully come in with their beautiful, the first ones coming in will be the women in the buckskins. Because it takes a lot to tan a hide and to make it soft and, you know, beautiful. It could be either white buckskin or the brown tan buckskin. You'll see the beautiful way all the women will design their hair, you know, from the braids of how they choose to wear their hair. And then they'll have the women's jingle behind the buckskin. And then you'll see a lot of ladies with the cloth dresses, the traditional blouses and the traditional skirts. And then we're going to be behind them and as a jingle dresser that I am, will be behind those ladies, and then behind us will be the women fancy shawl dancers. They represent the beauty of grace and energy also, and they'll be behind us, and you'll see their shawls, all designs representing the beautiful butterfly. And behind us, the adults will be in the same kind of a list from the teens and the youth, and they'll have all the men traditional, grass and fancy. Then the girls traditional, jingle and fancy shawl. And then behind all of them, you'll have all the parents waiting with their tiny tots, and they'll bravely let their children, it's usually 2 to 5 year olds come in. They have their first regalia on. They're excited about what to do and where to go, but it's just like they've done it all their lives. They just follow right behind, and all their beautiful regalia, and they're all mixed. They're just following in and dancing around. And grand entry, the protocol for grand entry, you might be standing for the grand entry. They ask for the ones that are able to stand, and they'll ask for everyone to remove their headgear because of the staffs that are coming in, the eagle feather staffs, the headdresses, the bustles, all from the fans. They'll ask the crowd at that time for them to have the protocol of how we do it our way, and when you go into another territory or a powwow version, it just basically just have respect and listen to the MC of how they're guiding everybody. And that would be to stand and remove their headgear. And they'll be standing for the grand entry. Right after that would be the beautiful flag song, which is our national anthem across Anishinaabe country. That song is sung to honor all the dancers and veterans that have fought for our country, who have protected our homelands, and who are now with the Creator, and who have been dancers and singers, and our relatives that shared, the powwows from way before this, the ceremonies. So that flag song is sung for them in that honor. And when you hear the grand entry begin, they'll let the first verse just for them, our loved ones who have passed on. They'll give that first verse to them. And then they'll bring in the flags and all the dancers. And after they make their rounds, and the veterans will be up towards the MC stand. So if you want to get your camera, listen to the MC. A lot of times they'll say not to take pictures because there's protocol for that. And that's just for the respect of the dancers. They might not want their children to have their pictures or videos on the internet or versus, we want to try to do the best, go in old style with it, in our memories and in our hearts, to have that memory that you might not be able to see me right now, but to have that memory of listening with our ears, to see the colors out there, and to have that memory of that, because that will last forever. A picture lasts forever if you don't lose it, but that memory of in your mind and your heart, that will always last. So there's times you can ask a dancer on the outside after the songs are completed. You can ask them, by their family, if you can have a picture with them. That's the best way to do it, because a lot of times it's just appropriate. there's just certain things.
Well, it is a wonderful time for photographs and taking
Oh, yeah.
pictures, and be respectful of when you do and of whom, and ask permission
Yes.
if possible. Speaking with Becky Taylor about the Honor of the Earth Homecoming Celebration and Pow Wow, it is this weekend here at Le Coudray, and the Honor of the Earth Pow Wow buttons are a wonderful souvenir. They're $10, and they admit you for the whole weekend. Becky, our good friend Tweed Schuman is here, who's going to join us for a few minutes. He wanted to come in as well before the celebration this weekend, and I know I'm sure on behalf of the Tribal Council and others, welcome people to Le Coudray this weekend. I was thinking, as you mentioned, Becky, you have the Lumberjack World Championships this weekend. You have the Honor of the Earth Homecoming Celebration. I think it's an interesting contrast between them. We have several, hundreds of years and many generations of Anishinaabe here, and then the arrival of the Europeans who stripped the forests of the trees, and we have these two events somewhat juxtaposed as perhaps something of a demonstration of how this community is very diverse. Tweed, I suspect you probably ought to maybe come around this way and join us for a bit. And of course, the two of you know each other well.
Busho.
You could stay where you are. You might have an opportunity to make some trouble for our tribal councilman here.
Okay.
Post whatever you wish. Tweed, very good to see you. Thank you for
Yes, you too, Eric. Thanks for having me.
in.
And thank you,
pleasure.
Becky, for speaking for us and on our behalf for the Honor of the Earth.
Oh, and so well.
Appreciate
So
that.
well. Thank you. Tweed.
Yes, all right, Eric. Thank you for having me again. I'd like to report on Le Coudray Tribal Governing Board meeting that we had yesterday at the Tribal Chambers. And our chairman was absent, but he was with a grandson who was his last day here and leaving to go back to the service. So Vice Chairman Schlender ran the meeting. We discussed several things, as we always do, and we invited the Economic Development Regional Director, Lee Sherry, and he brought a team of individuals that came to meet with us regarding economic opportunities for the tribe, this area, the county. He had a lot of great ideas. After our brief meeting there, I introduced him to our grants department, and he spoke with Lorene Wilgott and their staff regarding writing grants and what criteria it would take to be awarded grants. So, and then our conservation director, Brian Bissonette, took the economic development team on a tour of areas within the reservation that we're looking at developing and improving. One being the Hideout. They visited there. The old Boys and Girls Club that we're looking at renovating. We recently did the ICDBG grant. We're applying for that to renovate the old Boys and Girls Club for economic development, some office space, maybe a business incubator like we had done with the old CDC building now. That's full of offices now. So that was a very good meeting. And then we always appreciate the Elder Advisory Board updates. Mona Ingerson and our faith here religiously come to our meetings and update us on what's going on with the elders, and they have some budget issues we're addressing. So they stay in contact with us. We're also trying to develop a donation committee. I don't know if I mentioned that before, Eric, but the Tribal Governing Board gets requests from all over for donations to help folks that are in need, whether emergencies or donations or any aspect of that. So that's actually the tribe's money, not our money. So we would like a committee consisting of elders, maybe some business people in the area that could help us develop some criteria and guidelines to use so we could dispense this money as needed and fairly to all tribal members, because it is their money. Then we have, as everyone knows, we're in negotiations with Big Fish Golf Course. I can't talk too much about that, but we've appointed a due diligence team to look at the financials of Big Fish, to look at the opportunities are there, what it would cost us, would it be an amenity to the tribe, and consistent with the casino and marketing avenues that way. It also offers a lot of employment for tribal members. Since we've started negotiations, they have graciously accepted many tribal members as employees. So, and they've been very happy over there, and I see it as a win-win, but we want to be very careful going this step to make sure it's going to be financially justified.
Well, for those who may not be familiar with the area, the Lac-Courte Casino is on one side of County Highway K, and on the other side is this establishment, Kubi's, the Federal Credit Union, and the Big Fish Golf Course.
Correct.
So we're essentially all adjacent, contiguous.
Correct, and it would essentially expand the reservation boundaries. It's 170 acres. We feel it's a very attractive offer, so we're working through that, but we're taking our time. We want to do the right thing. We had some ratification of public works documents. You know, yesterday was a big groundbreaking for the new public works building, and we had a kind of a photo session over there with the groundbreaking. Tribal Governing Board, some Enbridge staff, which is helping us with land development and opportunities there. So that was a good session. We awarded Howard Brothers, which is the development team that will be working on that and employing LCO development use to create the public works building and the new sewer system. Jason Weaver could say exactly what this is, but we're expanding that. We are at capacity right now, and it's dangerously at capacity, so we need to expand.
I'm going to apologize. We have about, just to let you know, we have about a minute.
A minute left. Okay, I better keep going here.
You're with Tweed Schuman on the Tribal Council. And,
also approving and recognize the Conservation Enforcement Division of Lac-Courte Department as having delegated police powers, as well as authorization of the Conservation Enforcement Division for mutual assistance. We approved that resolution. We looked at some gaming enterprises personnel policy and procedures that were reviewed, and we made some changes there. A couple of lease agreements. We recently approved a lease agreement for our elders and tribal members to display their arts and crafts out of the old fireworks building right over here.
Oh, very nice.
That was a lease agreement we have with them through Labor Day. We approved a lease agreement for a gentleman who does tree cutting, and he has a lot of equipment and trucks and trailers. So we approved a site for him to park his equipment.
Well, excellent. I'm Eric Schubring. This is WOJB Reserve, Wisconsin. Again, I want to thank Becky Taylor for being here to welcome all, and what a wonderful description of what's happening, what will be happening this weekend at the Honor of the Earth Homecoming Celebration in Pow Wow. Tweed Schuman, thank you as well. It's a tremendous event. Grand entries at 7 o'clock Friday evening, 1 o'clock, and 7 o'clock Saturday, and a 1 o'clock grand entry on Sunday. If you can be there for a grand entry, be there for the grand entry. It's a wonderful, wonderful display of life at Lac-Courte and all around Anishinaabe.